I can use multiple colors on a page as well and allow the wet colors to blend and bleed together. So this technique is called bleeding. It's also known as wet on wet if you look it up on watercolor websites or in watercolor books. And basically what I want to have is 2 or 3 or 4 washes of paint that come together and bleed together and blend together. So just like a wash, I dip my brush into the water. I get a lot of water on my brush. This time I'm going to go ahead and use some red. And what I'm going to do is just basically paint this down. And if I want it to be a little bit darker, get a little bit more paint. And I want to work very quickly because I don't want this wash to dry. I want to be able to blend another color into it. So I'm going to quickly rinse that out, and I'm going to pick up some orange. And so I'm going to do a warm color scheme using red, orange, and some yellow. So quickly I'm going to let that orange just blend right into the red. And what happens is, since the paint is wet, it will start to bleed and blend where it touches. And if I need to, I can rinse out my brush, get a little bit of clean water, and kind of help that blending along and make sure that that orange is really getting into that red. Pick up a little bit more orange, spread it out a little bit more. A little bit more. Now I want to totally rinse out my brush and pick up some yellow. Really want to make sure that that brush is cleaned out before I get the yellow, because any orange in the brush will actually contaminate my yellow. So I always want to make sure I rinse out my brush really well before I get a new color. Alright, I'm just going to brush that out, letting it blend and bleed together. If I want the yellow to be a little bit more vibrant, I pick up a little bit more paint. Okay, rinse out my brush. Maybe a little couple places I can touch it up along the edges. It's not a big deal if I just leave it. And that quickly I've used 3 different colors, let them bleed together, let them blend together, and created the beginnings of another page.